Hello, welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome back to my thoughts on Doctor Who Season 11, Episode 2, The Ghost Monument. So I couldn't watch it live and I had to watch it today. So I got all the reactions on Twitter because I couldn't wait, and I even saw the new titles before I saw them within the episode. Love the new titles, by the way. A bit disappointed because there's no TARDIS or no Doctor's face, but I think this sums up his name, Chris Chibnall's era in this new season of Doctor Who, and his mentality. He's going about things rather differently. And some people believe that's not Doctor Who, how it should be. But people have been going at Doctor Who for over 50 years in different ways. And we've never really accused them of their shows not being Doctor Who. Of course this is Doctor Who. So a lot of people didn't like the episode. Some people loved the episode. I liked the episode. In a lot of ways, it was a typical episode 2 episode of a season, really. But it wasn't a bad episode. I thought it was good. I thought it was a great character development piece for Jodie's Doctor. I thought her Doctor was brilliant in this episode. I really enjoyed her. And her emotional response to her reunion with the TARDIS was beautiful. I mean, line of the whole episode, "Come to Daddy, no mummy." That was brilliant. And that was, I really enjoyed that. I thought that was funny. And also, it kind of suggests that she still sees herself as a man. And it might also suggest that the Doctor didn't decide to become a woman. It just happened. Maybe, maybe not. By the way, that's not really important to me. I'm just saying maybe it suggests that because she's still kind of referring to herself as a man. Maybe she's not that prepared for the change, and that's interesting because that's what I wanted to see. I wanted her to have a little bit of trouble about being a woman and not just going, right, yeah, I'm a woman now, that's great, isn't it? Rather than saying, well, I've never been a woman before. This is going to take some getting used to. And I thought that's what they were going to try and do, but they haven't done that. Again, not a deal breaker. So let's talk about the actual episode. Well, the actual episode was good. I thought the planet looked fabulous because in HD, sand and water is the best thing. It always looks stunning, doesn't it? So I like the planet they were on. I like the idea of this competition to get off the planet as well. And there's a couple of things that happened that were very Russell T Davies. Well, at least one. And it's when those ghosty sheet things were talking to the Doctor and called her the Timeless Child, was it? And she seemed very put back by this. Now, I'm wondering if this is meant to mean something for the season or it was just a moment within the episode. So that would be interesting. I do expect things to change and to have a big shocking twist, which will cause consequences for the rest of season 11, maybe episodes 5 and 6. So that would be interesting. And I've noticed that they've done a synopsis for episodes 5 and up to episodes 5 and 6 now as well. So that was interesting. We also kind of found out within this episode that Tim Shaw and his people are going to be the arc of this season. Now, a lot of people have been going, especially YouTubers, oh yeah, Chris Chibnall said no arcs. Chris Chibnall never said that. This is what Chris Chibnall said. Chris Chibnall said every episode will be standalone and will have no two-parters. Now, actually, Who's always been that way. If it isn't a two-parter, it's a standalone episode. But they still had arcs. I mean, we had RTD had his kind of one-worded arcs like Torchwood. What was the first one? Bad Wolf. Yeah. So it's always been there. And I think you've got to have some kind of an arc. So it's going to be very interesting where we go with this. Now, the Doctor's new friend's reaction to being dragged out away from Earth, and I mean, imagine how mad it is. You're an ordinary person and you're floating in space. I love the way how Graham and Ryan kind of reacted to this situation. But I tell you, the best reaction was from Yaz, because she's just standing there and the Doctor's literally ignoring her because she's focused on this situation. She's trying to make sure the ship doesn't crash or whatever she's trying to do. And Yaz is going, hello, hello. It's interesting at first she goes, go back into the chamber. You have to go in the chamber. But then she never stayed in the chamber. So obviously she didn't have to go back in the chamber. But so that was kind of interesting. But I just love Yaz's reaction to the whole thing. For me, that's so human, isn't it? I mean, she's shitting herself. I mean, she's in this crazy situation and everyone's talking over her and ignoring her. So, but it's interesting. A lot of people do feel that Yaz has been underdeveloped, where Graham and Ryan kind of have this development between themselves with their relationship, and Ryan not seeing Graham as his actual grandfather. Well, Ryan hasn't got this, but she did bring up her family. I do love that scene when she said, I miss my family already, and I didn't think I would because my one member of my family is this and that. She was explaining basically everyday kind of issues you have with your family. So that was interesting that she mentioned him. But I do have a theory that maybe she's being underdeveloped because they're going to kill her off at the end of the season. I always fall to have 3 companions in a modern Doctor Who series. I know you could compare it to the past where they had loads, but I think they've never done it before, and I just think it might be a plot point, and I think it might be. So if she does die, obviously I would hope it changes something within the Doctor, and how is she going to live with that? So I definitely think one of them's going to die, or one of them ends up being a villain or something. And as I said last week in my thoughts for the episode 1, the woman who fell to Earth, I kind of feel that Graham is going to end up being a villainous guy, which actually looks impossible, makes me look stupid right now. But I think that could be a real situation there. So I'm enjoying the companions. They're very. You see, this series of Doctor Who, this Chris Chibnall series of Doctor Who, is very subdued, and I'm not saying that in a negative. The Doctor's more subdued, the companions are more subdued, because in the history of New Who, the companions have always been in your face. From Rose to Donna. Martha was a little bit more withdrawn, but the other ones were definitely a lot more in your face. I'm brave, I'm a human, let's go. And I think that was RTD's mentality. And kind of differently, it was Stephen Moffat's mentality as well. But these companions are not as loud. But another favourite part of this episode was when Ryan grabs the gun and starts shooting those droid things. That was hilarious. What was he quoting? Line of Call of Duty or something. I can't remember what game he was going on about, but that was hilarious. But that whole scene was brilliant because you saw the dynamic between him and the Doctor. She's trying to teach him something. Don't use guns. Don't go out there. You're not doing this. Yes, I am. So this is like a rebellious child not listening to his mum. So he goes out there and he has to learn the hard way. Then he has to see that the Doctor solves the problem by using her brain, which the Doctor's always done, by the way, which is one of the great messages that Doctor Who promotes. And as I said last week, this is a great way to grab kids when they're young, to teach them positive things. And as I say, it's not preachy. It's really, really good. So I think, although the episode won't be remembered for being a classic, and not every episode or every film has to be the best thing ever, and I think this is what we expect now. So a lot of people complaining, didn't like this episode. An actor from Class, remember the Doctor Who spin-off, was complaining about the episode, and he got lots of hate for it. But I think, and I'm hoping this channel is going to be a safe space where we can all kind of just talk about what we think without being intimidated. If you don't agree with me, if you don't agree with my thoughts on Doctor Who or anything else, you don't have to. Just say it. Maybe we can have a debate or something, rather than say, I'm going to kill you, yeah, you don't agree with me, Because social media and YouTube are a reactive place. And in my opinion, that's what they should be. And we shouldn't be angry at people whether they like an episode of Doctor Who or not. I think that Who Addicts, another YouTube channel, is having a few problems right now because they're accusing some bot or something of disliking and stuff like that. The reality is you can't control these things. All you can do is do your videos and hope for the best, that you get a good audience. But you're going to get negativity and things like that. But going on Twitter, complaining about it and telling them not to do that is waving the red rag to the bull. It shows them that you're giving these people a stage. I definitely think that this episode, though, I was kind of intrigued by it. I really was. And so it is interesting what happens with Tim Shaw for the rest of this season, or his people, should I say. But he survived, and he survived for a reason. that was obvious. Now, it wasn't blatantly obvious that he was going to be him and his people were going to be the arc of this season, but I definitely think that it's obvious now that's what they're going to do. So we've got a custard cream machine in the TARDIS. Pretty cool, right? No? Well, I like custard creams. So if they're stranded on this planet, no one can say, well, how are they going to eat? They've got an unlimited supply of custard cream, so no one can question. Although they probably have a lot of sugar and shit in their arteries and stuff, but hey, that's life. Sometimes I have too many biscuits and I worry about my weight and stuff, so that's cool. I'm going to give this episode 7 out of 10. Good news as well, 7 million viewers for this episode, which means it just about only fell to 1 million from last week's. That's fantastic. But the pivotal thing now, because this episode had a mixed reaction, the pivotal thing is, will it fall some more? Will it stay the same? Maybe it will go up. I don't know. But this Rosa Parks episode, which is the next episode, is a very interesting one for me because it does sum up what Chris Chibnall is trying to do. Chris Chibnall isn't trying to be an out there epic series of Doctor Who. He's trying to be, as I say, very withdrawn, taking us to historical places, being quite accurate, but entering a sci-fi element into that situation so that there can be a commentary on that, on characters, on people, real life people like Rosa Parks. So I would say if you hated this episode, you're absolutely in your right to do that. And if you love the episode, because I think this episode, as I said at the beginning of the show, is a typical episode 2, but it's got some great things and it works. In that bridge of getting to know this Doctor, it really, really worked. Now, another interesting scene for me is when she's feeling a bit hopeless when the TARDIS isn't where she thinks it's going to be. And it's the companions that make her think, make her change her mentality and start her all positive again. But should they be doing that? Is that a human response? Or should they be saying to her, hang on a minute, I better not say sweetheart because that's rather sexist, isn't it? Or love, oh my God, I nearly said 2 very sexist things. Let's start again, right? So, look, that's how I grew up. Sometimes I say these things, I don't mean to. You see what happens when you're scared of offending everyone? But anyway, right, so, yeah, the human response, my response would have been, hang on a minute, Doctor, said Doctor this time, we didn't ask to come with you. And I think that's why I liked it last week, because they didn't decide to go with her. She's dragged them along for the ride, accidentally. So they should be kind of frustrated and angry with her just for a bit. And I kind of understood from the beginning that Chris Chibnall's Doctor Who was going to be, there was going to be this passive positiveness. There wasn't going to be this kind of many arguments between the companions. I know the Doctor and Ryan had this kind of difference of opinion about the gun, but really it's definitely this. It's non-offensive, isn't it? What we've seen so far is non-offensive. That is both a good thing and not a good thing, because without characters going up against each other, because we've seen it in the past in New Who, kind of works, but it's a very different way of doing Doctor Who, and you either are indifferent about it, you get it, or you don't get it. Thankfully, I do get it, but I do think in the middle of this series, something's going to change, because I think Mr. Chibnall is leading us into a false sense of security. I think in the second half of this season, something shocking is going to happen, and something is going to be revealed. So it's going to be very interesting. So, yeah, I enjoyed this episode. Bring on episode 3, which is called Rosa. And comment down below, like or dislike. Please subscribe if you've seen the video and you like it. If you don't like me, subscribe anyway. It'll be fun. At least you can hate on me. Have a nice day.